name's Peter Shepherd. I'm conducting a room safety check before undergoing the 3 lessons involved in SITH FA-BO27, Serve Food and Beverage. I've looked around the room's clean, furniture is in the appropriate places for learning, it's all in good condition and there's no damage. The lighting seems to be adequate for easy reading and learner comfort, and it's well ventilated. The floors have no debris, there are no wires, there are no cables, all rugs have been tucked away, and the furniture is free of trip hazards. The resources are in place for our sessions today. We have all of the items that are required for the 3 session plans, including the table settings, the furniture, the drink glasses, the trays, the serving equipment, and so forth. I've identified the fire exit at the far end of the room. It's clearly signed. Fire extinguisher is also clearly signed, as is the first aid kit. All these will be identified to the learners when they arrive. In terms of the environment, the lighting is good. Temperature in the room is comfortable, and there is no major noise distractions or anything to interfere with today's learning. We'll move on to the safety briefing. Good morning everybody, and welcome to the first session of our food and beverage module, SITH FA-BO27, Serve Food and Beverage. Before we begin today's session, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I also extend that respect to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people participating in this training. I'd like to start by setting some expectations to ensure that this session is safe, respectful and comfortable for everybody. This training is practical, hands-on session, and it's important that we all feel supported to participate, ask questions and learn at our own pace. Please treat each other with respect, be mindful of personal space and communicate in a positive and professional manner throughout this session. If at any point you do feel uncomfortable, unsure, fatigued or you need clarification, please let me know straight away. Everybody's well-being is important and adjustments can be made as required to support the safe participation. We'll now cover some key workplace health and safety requirements relevant to today's session. As this training takes place in a dining room environment, it's important to be aware of your surroundings. Please ensure that the walkways all remain clear. If you do have any personal items, water bottles, bags, mobile phones, etc., please don't leave them on the floor where they could become a trip hazard. And just be mindful of where other people are so that we don't bump into each other. Today we're going to be handling crockery, cutlery, glassware and some service equipment. These things do need to be handled a little bit carefully to avoid breakage or injury. If we do drop anything, break anything, then please let me know. Don't attempt to pick it up yourself. We'll have it dealt with safely and disposed of. When we're carrying items, we're going to use some safe manual handling techniques. This is quite a deep table, so we have to be careful that we're not overextending or leaning forward, especially when we're holding heavier things. Avoid good posture, which we'll demonstrate as we go through it, and do avoid rushing. There's no race on this, so we don't need to be walking dangerously quickly. Personal hygiene is a really important part of food and beverage service. Please ensure that your hands are clean before we start today's practical sessions. You're going to be touching cutlery, crockery, glassware and other things that people will use to eat. There's some sanitizer on the table, and sometimes it can be, if you've got sores or any open wounds or just unsure, it can be good to wear a pair of gloves. Setting the table, it's actually quite beneficial because you don't leave fingerprints all over the cutlery, so it can be a positive for that as well. In the event of an emergency, exits are located towards the end of the room and clearly signed. Fire extinguisher is signed over here behind me, and the first aid kit is in that room to the end there up on the right. If an emergency does arise, I just ask you to follow instructions, remain calm, and someone will come and escort us out of the building to the muster station. Finally, this is a supportive learning environment. Mistakes are all part of learning, we all make them, and questions are encouraged. My role here is to guide and support you throughout this session, so please ask me for help whenever you need it. We'll now move into this session's focus. Today's module is about setting a table. The objective today is to learn how to set the table consistently and confidently so that you can use that in a workplace setting. This is a core skill used in restaurants and function centres. It's going to be really important if any of you are looking for a role with that. Well, just before we get started, we might do an introduction. So my name's Peter, I will be your trainer today. and I've been in this industry for a long time, working both front and back, and I'm hopeful that I can share some of those insights with you as we move along. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Lauren. I have had some experience in working in the industry and I'm looking to improve my skills.
Excellent. Welcome, Lauren.
I'm Emma. I'm a recent school leaver. I'm about to start university and I'm just looking for my first job.
Fantastic. You're in the right place.
I'm Nicola. I've got a full-time job, but I've got a big mortgage and I'm looking to pick up some weekend work, so just getting some training and new skills.
Excellent.
Hello, I'm Eileen. I've retired from full-time work, but I could do with a bit to supplement my pension.
I understand. Well, there's lots of opportunities in food and beverage, both full-time, part-time, and of course that casual weekend work, which can be very rewarding. Today's session is all about setting a table. What impression do you think a poorly set table gives to people when they first arrive in a venue?
That you don't care.
Yeah.
Care factor, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Anyone else?
Dirty?
Yeah, maybe not as organised.
Yeah. And what does that lead to? Confidence, right? You think if people can do that part, then the business is well run and you're likely to get a good meal. And hopefully, if it's a clean and tidy, organised table, it's a clean and tidy, organised kitchen.
Yeah.
What else? Any problems that can arise? What happens if you're sitting down at a table and it hasn't been well set? What impact will that have on the business and the dining experience?
People aren't going to order as much food. They have no cutlery. What would someone eat?
Possibly, yeah. And it's going to mean that more work needs to be done at a time that maybe the venue's not expecting to. So you're the seated people that deliver their food and then they might have to run back to the kitchen to get some cutlery or a share plate or a water glass, which just adds a load of work and keeps everybody too busy and stops them focusing on the things that they should be doing. By the end of today's session, we should all be able to set a table to these standards, take a little bit of confidence in that. Anywhere that you're going to go and work in a workplace, they will have their own specific way of doing it, and it would be expected that they'll share that with you at the start. But the simple process is going to be the same wherever you're at. Throughout the rest of these sessions, we're going to look at other parts of serving food and beverage. So we're going to be looking at carrying plates, and we're also going to be looking at carrying some drinks. So when you finish the whole 3 sessions, you should be fairly confident to get a role in some of these venues. Today's session, we are going to start with a simple demonstration. We'll talk a little bit about the things that you might expect to find on a table. We'll talk about what they're used for and where they go. Then I'll do a bit of a demonstration of one place setting before handing over to you guys to do a setting of your own. It's going to be really important that we're coaching through and talking through that first one. And once you've got that underway and you're confident with that, then you can do another setting independently. And then we'll have a little exercise towards the end of the session where we find some faults or some issues that are in some of the settings that we've already got. Okay, so the first thing that's going to happen when you're going to set the table is you need to make sure that you've got all the right bits and pieces. Now, I've got a little handout here with some descriptions and pictures of the kind of things that you might encounter, and you can take that with you. I guess what it indicates and what you can see really straight away is that not all knives look the same, not all forks look the same. There's going to be lots of different types. So identifying them within the venue is going to be really important. So we're going to look today at a very simple setting. We're just going to be setting with entree cutlery, main course cutlery, side plate, napkin, water glass, and a wine glass. Our cutlery, if we start with the knives, entree cutlery is typically smaller than a main course cutlery, and the fork will align with that. So you have a small knife and a small fork, and a large knife and a large fork. What other variations do you think you might find in cutlery, depending on the venue?
Like spoons, soup spoons.
If you had something different, absolutely. Or a steak knife, possibly. Obviously, some main courses require a spoon. Some people eat pasta with a spoon and fork. So there's lots of venue-specific variations. Next we've got our napkin. Napkins are really important. These ones are a very simple fold, but a lot of places will have different folds to that, and learning how to fold it will be a key part to your start. Side plate. What's the side plate for?
Bread.
Yeah, bread, absolutely. Or perhaps if you had a shared entree, you could use it for that as well. Glassware, we've got two types. We've got a water glass, and we're going to use these today. These are really a champagne flute, but we're going to use them as a wine glass. And they're going to be set for every place setting. Alright, so I'll start by doing a bit of a demo on how we do this. First thing we want to do is align our chair with the table, making sure that we've got about a hand's width to the edge. And the first thing we'll position will be our napkin. So we take our napkin and put it right in the middle, 2 fingers from the edge of the table. Then we're going to set our main course cutlery, so that's the large knife and the large fork. The knife goes in the right hand, and we position that about 4 fingers away from the napkin, and the fork about 4 fingers away from the napkin on the left, making sure that we're nice and flat along the bottom. Then we're going to put our entree cutlery, so appetizer cutlery, knife lined up, fork lined up, and again, nice flat line. Side plate, going to position just next to the forks. Want to leave enough room so that it's not clunky when we're picking up the fork, doesn't want to hit the plate and knock our bread flying. Then we're going to position our water glass very simply directly above the 2 knives, and our wine glass at 45 degrees, just a little bit up. Does that all make sense? So once we've got all of our bits and pieces together and we've aligned, we need to do a final check, and that starts again with the chair. Make sure that the chair is aligned, measure our distances, measure from the bottom, measure from the sides, and just make sure everything's there, conducting that simple inventory check. If you're doing a table like this, one of the things that's going to be important is that it all looks aligned and set evenly. So once you've started, we're going to do 2 on that side and 2 on this side initially, and then you'll come over and set the opposite setting. And the knives and the forks want to align, and the napkins want to be straight down the middle, so that those settings are nice and even opposite each other. Does that all make sense? Any questions?
No.
Okay. You'll find in the centre of the table there, we've got everything that you're going to need. It's set up into 4 groups. So there's one for each of you. And I think maybe, Nicola, if you start with this setting over here, and Eileen, you can start with this setting here. Emma, you can start with the setting where you are, and Lauren, perhaps you come around and start over this side. I'll move my things out of the way. And that'll allow you to have a bit of space to move around. So you're just going to do the one setting for now, in that, and then we'll go through those. So the first thing you're going to lay down is the napkin. Absolutely, that's good. Just be careful when we're leaning across that table that you don't overextend. If you do feel uncomfortable, we'll move the things and you can come in from the other side. Good. So have we all identified which ones are the entree cutlery and which ones are the main course
I
cutlery?
think I've got all the same.
Do you want that from me?
Knives.
Yeah. Right.
Swap those out for-
Additional main course ones somewhere.
Right.
There you go. Alright, they're looking good. Did we have any difficulty identifying entree knives from cutlery from main cook cutlery? No.
No.
And why do you think the entree stuff goes on the outside?
Because you eat it first.
Yeah, that's right. So it all should be aligned so that it's in the right place when you need it.
With these plates, how do we know that they're not going to be too close to the person next to them?
So the person this way, once the whole table is set, that's a really good question. And it can be an issue, especially if you're setting a really big function table, that the settings do have to get quite close. As we're looking at these settings, what else do you think is really important to consider with the spacing?
There are two people who are too close together.
People are too close together, yeah. And one of the things that we'll touch in on when we're doing the 3-plate carry is when you get to the table with the food, it's really important that there's enough space between the cutlery that you can put it down there. So if it's all been set really, really close, it makes it very difficult. You have to come back and move everything around.
Yeah.
Alright, they all look very good. Well done.
I think your 3 fingers are wider than my 3 fingers.
That is possibly true. So let's go with my 3 fingers.
Yeah.
So, yes. Alright, so having done those, the next thing that we're going to do is switch to the other side and align that next setting. So what we want to make sure is that when you're positioning the chair, it's nicely in line with the chair on the other side. Goes up your way.
I'm too close to that plate.
I think I am too.
I have to move my whole setting along.
Just over a little bit, yeah. We might have to move them all.
Oh, no, that's not. Alright. Excellent. So how did that feel? Good.
And if you step back from the table and we look from a distance, does it look all tidy and
Yeah.
straight?
That's not nice.
Good. These glasses don't look quite right, do
Oh, yes.
Well, we
Right. And that's rather a big gap. Really.
I left 5 fingers.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay. So looking at your own settings, what we're going to do next is going to make one change to each of your settings, and then we'll swap and we'll see if we can, how obvious it is and how easy it is to identify what those issues are. So try and do it discreetly, just concentrate on what you're doing rather than looking at the persons next to you. You won't necessarily know who you're going to swap with yet anyway.
So both of our settings?
Yeah, so you've got two problems. let's
2
say.
problems?
Yeah, one problem in every setting on the table.
Are you going to do that?
Are you done?
Oh, I don't know what to do. I'm sorry.
Alright, so we'll start by having a little look at the 2 settings that I've done at these 2 ends. And having just a look at, say, this setting up here, can anyone see what might be a problem with this one?
Yeah, the plate's the wrong side.
Absolutely. So it should go on the...
Left, with the forks.
Okay, so you can move that around and fix that up for me, please, Eileen, for the right spot. Very good. Alright, and now if we look at this setting up here,
Oh, your life's not right. You got the little one. on the
well
inside.
picked up, Emma. So can you correct that now? Excellent. Whose were these ones on the end?
Mine.
They were Nicola's. Alright, so you obviously know what the issue might be here. Lauren, do you want to have a look at this setting here and see what leaps out?
What's happened here? Bit wonky.
I like it, thanks, screwed.
Alright, so you can correct that, Lauren. How does it look
Close
now?
to the edge of the table now, aren't they?
There you go. That's good.
Alright. And what about this one over here? Emma, maybe you can have
The
a
little ones are on the inside.
switched around again.
Good, they're not in line.
And it might be something else.
Ooh! Forks on the left.
Right.
Knives on the right. I missed it.
Forest for the trees. Much better. Right. So, looking at these two together, is there anything that leaks out? Is there any adjustments that we might...
They're not quite in line.
Yeah,
You could
absolutely.
shuffle it over.
So we could move it across a little bit so that the napkins are aligned with each other. Maybe if, Emma, you can help fix that up.
You moved it, then I moved it.
How about now? Is that better?
Great. Looks good. Very good. We happy with those ones? All right, whose were these two?
Mine.
Okay, so Eileen, you know what's wrong with these. Lauren, maybe you have a look at this one over here and see what you think might be...
I think your napkins are too high.
Is that it?
And some issues with the cutters.
Nice.
Very good. And Nicola, maybe you come round and have a look at this one over here. I don't think you've had one yet.
The cutlery looks good, it's just the glass that it needs to go. Is that it?
Emma, does that look good?
That looks good to me.
What about the position of the water glass? Is that
Oh, maybe you could shift it over there, maybe.
very nice? All right, so we're happy with those ones? Third set, whose were those? That was yours, Emma.
That's mine, yeah.
All right, so you'll know what's maybe wrong. Eileen, do you want to have a look at that side? And Nicola, you can have a look at this side.
I think this one's the glass.
I'm left-handed.
Ding, ding, ding.
And that raises an interesting point. Whether we're left-handed or right-handed, we still set the cutlery in the same position. Is anyone here left-handed?
No.
No. Have you seen sometimes left-handed people swap their cutlery around and put it in the other hand?
Yes.
All Americans left-handed.
So Americans have that funny thing where they do swap their cutlery and hold it down and cut it and then put the fork into the other hand. But again, we'd still set in exactly the same way. Alright, are we comfortable with those two settings now? Do they both look good? We've got that, no, so we've got two more to go. That's right. These were yours, Lauren.
They were indeed.
Alright.
Good luck trying to put a plate down in that cutlery.
So that's straight off the bat, yeah, that's good.
Do you want me to fix it?
Yeah, you can fix that one up. And what about this one over here, Ali? Is there anything that's leaping out about that?
Yes, got it.
Ah,
That fork there. Just going to say it's a double bluff.
excellent. So sometimes it's just that one little thing, and it can be when you're doing a big room set, you're setting a lot of settings in one go. Putting the forks around is an easy accident that can happen. It's really important that we do get into that mindset of not only checking our own work, but also being able to come back around and check other people's work. Okay, so do we all feel comfortable with that? Do we want to have another go doing a setting, or are you happy that you're all over those?
I'm happy.
Yeah, excellent. All right, well, let's have a seat and we'll do a bit of a recap on what we've covered today.
Where's my dinner?
Oh, you need some dinner now. We've got all this library set. Okay, so just recapping on today, we've covered the things that you might expect to find on a table and what they're used for. What have we used today? What have we set on these tables? Lauren?
Cutlery, plates, glasses, and napkins.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've acknowledged that in some circumstances there may be additional cutlery or different cutlery, different glassware, different crockery provided to suit the meal or the establishment. We've talked about the position of the furniture and how that's really important, and that sets the tone for the room, and how the cutlery and the table settings have to align with the furniture placement. And then we've talked about setting the table. So as we just recap through that order of procedure, what's the first thing that we do when we're going to go? If we've arrived on our first day of the job, we've been given a picture of what the table setting should look like. We've seen one and another table that's ready to go, and then we've been asked to set a table. What's the first thing that we're going to do?
Gather together all the things we need.
Excellent, that's right. And in that process, it's really important that we're checking that they're all fit for purpose, so that they're clean, that they're polished, that they're not damaged. Emma, what would we do next?
Line up the chair and put the napkin in the middle.
So get our positioning so that everything's in the right spot. Absolutely. And once we've got that positioned, what's the next thing that we do there, Nicola?
Put down the glasses.
Cutlery or glasses, yeah, and build it out. Absolutely. And then Lauren, what's the really important final step?
Checking everything.
That's right, checking it off, making sure that it's all consistent. Yes, Alan?
What about the plates?
And the plates, so once everything's down, yeah, absolutely.
And we put a wine glass for everybody regardless of whether they're going to have wine or not, or whether they're adult or children.
Depending on the restaurant, yes. Some restaurants where it's predominantly adults or a function setting, you would set it all the same. Other restaurants, it may be that you only get a wine glass if you order wine, or wine may be provided in a glass. A lot of this work, especially even the sort of casual weekend work, can be related to functions.
Yeah.
And in those situations, every single place setting is going to be identical.
Yeah.
All right, do you have any questions on what we've learnt today, or?
No,
No?
looks very smart.
It does look good, doesn't it? It looks a lot tidier now than it did when we first sat down and we had all those heaps and piles of stuff in the middle. Okay, so as we work through today, one of the things that I've noticed about all of you as you're going is your attention to detail is all really good, and that's important. It's going to be really an essential skill that you're bringing into that first shift and every shift ongoing, that when you're given a task, you pay attention, you concentrate, and then you're checking. Being able to self-police is a really important part of hospitality. Often we're going to be left to work independently, and having that skill is really essential. So don't ever think that I've set it, so therefore it must be right. It's always worth checking your own work. So Lauren, just looking back over today's lesson, what did you find the easiest thing to learn today?
Probably the general gist of setting a table, the learning to do things.
So you've eaten at lots of tables in the past?
I have indeed, yes.
So that all kind of made sense to you? Yeah. Excellent. Emma, what was a part of today's lesson that you were maybe a little bit uncomfortable about before coming in?
Oh, probably the spacing, you know, how high up, how they need to be in line. If the tops need to be in line or the bottoms.
Right, okay.
Clarification.
Excellent. Nicola, was there a part today that you felt was a little bit more challenging than some of the other bits?
Just getting everything to look the same. I think the uniformity of it.
Consistency, so important. And Eileen, was there anything today that you were surprised about? Was there anything that you...
Yes, I've always put the wine glass on it outside of the water glass, not the inside, but I'll know better now.
I guess it could go either way. I thought,
As long as they're all the same.
as long as
It's
they're
all the same and consistent with what the restaurant policy is.
And one of the things to think about is how are you going to use it if the wine glass and the water glass are reversed. In order to get to the water glass, you have to go around the wine glass. The wine glass is taller, so water glass is easily accessible, as is the wine glass. We don't have to...
But I suppose if the wine glass is on the other side, you're sort of then in that person's space, whereas if it's on this side,
Correct.
you're clearly in your space.
Yeah.
What if you were just drinking wine? That's...
Then you... Excellent. Okay, that's pretty much wraps up today's session. Just going to recap the key points today were about being able to identify everything that we need to set a table, which we've done. Determine the appropriate location of a place setting for all of those pieces of equipment, which I feel that we've done. And then being able to find mistakes and self-police at work once it's out. Next session, we're going to look at carrying 3 plates. So we'll continue to use these settings, and it'll become really important that that spacing is right so that we can be putting those down. But we'll get into the details of that next time. Has anyone got any feedback from today's session? Was there enough demonstration? Was there enough hands-on? Do you all feel like your particular learning needs were met?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you feel like it's something that you needed more practice time, or was there sufficient provided within the lesson?
Sufficient.
Sufficient.
Excellent. And the handout material that you were given with the descriptions and pictures of all of the tablewares, was that clear? Did it cover all of the...
Very
all the
comprehensive.
Excellent. Okay, that pretty much makes it all up. You will receive a feedback form in the mail if I could ask you to complete that and send it back at your earliest convenience. Keep up the practice. When you're going out for dinner, it's a really good idea to be looking at what other people are doing and looking at those table settings. Maybe you can learn something, or you can at least test yourself to see whether it's up to date. And I look forward to seeing you all next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.